This week we are talking about Habakkuk. So Habakkuk, there's not really much known about him in the books of the Bible that we have available to us. Outside of the book of Habakkuk itself, there's no mention of his name. And he mentions himself twice. There are other books though that mention him, which are not canon. But the main story that Habakkuk, he has these 5 oracles, right? These 5 like prophecies, statements, and it's about Babylon and how Babylon is going to come and exact revenge and havoc on Israel. Now, Habakkuk is a very small book. There's only 3 chapters. It's not a lot. So I'm going to start reading. We're going to read all 3 chapters from Habakkuk. And we're going to see what's going on with Habakkuk. Now, if you're a little bit sharp, you'll be looking at my titles and be thinking, okay, what is going on? Okay, actually the title was not changed from last week. It still says Amos's message. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, it'll be the Figtree Question. Right? Well, what is the Figtree Question? Right, stay tuned. We're going to find out. Right? So, Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 1. The burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. Okay, so Habakkuk is actually saying that the prophets, the prophecies that he saw, the visions he witnessed, they were a what? They were a burden. Okay, they weighed on him. They made him feel some kind of way. So then, that emotion led to Habakkuk's complaint. Verse 2. O Lord, how long shall I cry and you will not hear? Even cry out unto thee of violence, and you will not save. Why do you show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. So there are people that are doing these things. Verse 4. Before the law is slacked and judgment does never go forth, for the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceeded. So he's looking and he's saying the wicked outnumber the righteous, and every decision that's happening even in this country, everything, all wrong judgment, everything is incorrect, it's not righteous. And it's like, Lord, how long are you going to let this go on? In verse 5, you see the Lord's answer. He says, behold you among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously. For I will work a work in your days. Underline that. What is the Lord saying? He's saying to Habakkuk, you are going to see me do this work. You are going to witness this. I'm going to do this in your days, which you will not believe, even if it's told to you. That's how marvelous this work is going to be. But watch what happens. God is saying this is going to be so great, it's going to be so marvelous, it's going to be so amazing what I'm going to do. Right? Because he's saying, how long you're not going to do anything? How long you're not going to judge? Right? How many of you know God has a sense of humor? Alright, so he says, verse 6, for lo, I raise up the who? Now who are the Chaldeans? The Babylonians. Right? That bitter and hasty nation, which shall what? March through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. Their horses also are swifter than the leopards, and are more fierce than the evening wolves. And their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from afar, and they shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. And they shall come all for violence. Their faces shall sup up as the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sand. And they shall scoff at the kings, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them, and they shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it. Then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing his power unto his God. Okay, so what did Habakkuk pray? He said, God, you're not judging them. They're doing all the wrong things. He was talking about Israel. So God says, let me show you what a marvelous thing I'm going to do. What's he going to do? He's going to bring the Babylonians to come and overthrow them. They're going to come and destroy everything. So now, in verse 12, Habakkuk goes back to God. He says, art thou not from everlasting, O Lord my God, my Holy One? We shall not die. O Lord, you have ordained them for judgment, and Almighty God, thou hast established them for correction. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, and cannot look on iniquity. Wherefore lookest thou upon them that deal treacherously, and holdest your tongue, when even the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he? What is he saying? You are bringing these unrighteous people to execute judgment on your righteous people. Okay? And makest men as the fishes of the sea, and creeping things that have no ruler over them. They take up all of them with the angle, they catch them in their net, they gather them in the drag, and therefore they rejoice and are glad. Therefore they sacrifice unto their net, and burn incense unto their drag, because by them their portion is fat, their meat is plenteous. Shall they therefore empty their net and not spare continually to slay the nations? What is he saying? These people have no God. Their God is physical things. Their gods are idols. You want them to continually slay us? So we move to chapter 2. Habakkuk makes this declaration. I will stand on my watch, set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me. What I shall answer when I am reproved. Underline that. Highlight that. Habakkuk 2:1. You see, Habakkuk received an answer that he was not happy with. How many of you can identify with Habakkuk? You ask for something, but you receive an answer that you did not expect. So I want judgment. These people are all wrong. They're doing all these wrong things around me. I can't stand this unrighteousness. And God says, okay, I also can't stand the unrighteousness. Let me bring the Babylonians to come conquer them. Like, oh, wait, whoa, hold on, God. How are you going to let the Babylonians kill the Israelites? They are idol worshippers. You're going to let them triumph over us? How quickly his mindset changed. So now he says, okay, I'm going to stand on my watch. I'm going to set myself on the tower, and I'm going to watch to see what he's going to say to me. Now you see, it took all of that for Habakkuk to then take accountability for his life. It's like, I'm going to fast, I'm going to pray, I'm going to watch spiritually, and then I'm going to see what God will say to me. Verse 2, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that readeth it. What's he saying? This thing is going to be fearful. When you read this, you're going to run in fear. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. What does that mean? If you are proud in heart, then your soul is not upright in you. Why? Because the just meaning the righteous people, the justified, the saved ones, they live by faith. They are not proud. He says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man. You want to indulge in all the good things in life because, hey, look at me. I can do this. I can do that. Neither keepeth at home. Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. He's talking about the Babylonians as well. He's saying, these guys, this is their nature. Then he says in verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that laded himself with thick clay. He shall not rise up, shall they not rise up suddenly, that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. What that means, booties? Yeah, bounty, right? When you conquer in battle, you take the spoils, right? For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth. Because thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. And for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Okay, what is he talking about? When you have war, right, you are the invading country. You're going to this country. Now, if you don't kill everybody, there's going to be pockets of people that are going to rebel, to rise against you. That's what he's talking about. So it says there now, won't they rise up suddenly that will bite you, and awake that will vex you? You will be booties unto them, because you've spoiled many nations. Now that means all the different nations, the remnants of those people, they're going to come looking for vengeance. Because of men's blood, the blood that you spilled, and for the violence that you did in the land. Okay. So woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to your house by cutting off many people, and have sinned against thy soul. So God considers it shame to your house when you cut off people. That's an interesting thought. And what does he say? You're sinning against your own soul. You see, God cares about your character. Are you a person that is cutting off other people? Or are you a person that is warm and welcoming? For the stone that shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. What is that imagery that creates in your mind when you read that? You're looking at a house. There's a stone in a wall and a beam of the timber. Now you're looking at a roof. So it's saying the wall is crying out, but the roof is answering. Think about it. There's no other bricks in the wall that can help that stone. There are no other stones in the wall that can help that stone. The thing that's answering the stone is the beam, something different. But it also creates this imagery. And the reason I'm picking on it is because the church is like a house. Right? Everybody's not the same. They don't have the same functions. Everyone's not a brick. Everyone's not a stone in the wall. Someone might be a part of the timber in the roof. Someone might be a handle on the door. Different parts, but they make up one house. Woe to him that builds a town with blood and establishes a city by iniquity. What is he saying? No house can stand if its foundation is not built the way I asked it. No house can stand if it's built on blood, violence. No house can stand. What's the second part? Iniquity. No house can stand on iniquity. There must be righteousness. Look at verse 13. Behold, it is not of the Lord of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. God did not design this world for you to suffer. Some people have this mentality that think that it's God's will for them to suffer, to slog, to work hard and have very little. I'm not preaching a prosperity gospel. What I am saying is, you shouldn't have that opinion that God intends for you to suffer. God intends for you to have a difficult life. That is not what it is. Right? So verse 13 says, it's not of the Lord of hosts. It's not because of him. For the earth will what? Be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. You know that line? It's from Habakkuk. Woe unto him that gives his neighbor drink, that puts your bottle to him, and makes him drunk also, that you may look on their nakedness. Now, do you know how often this verse is mistranslated? What is it talking about? What is this verse talking about? Do you know what this verse is talking about? It's talking about deceit. Where you do one thing, but your motive is something else. Let's see, right? So you're saying, woe unto him, you're giving your neighbor drink, you're putting your bottle to him, you're making him drunk. Why? Why are you making him drunk? You're saying, oh, we're fellowshipping, let's drink. You want him to get drunk so that you can look on his naked. He's going to reveal things to you that you can find the shame. That is deceitfulness. That is maliciousness. There's a better word for it and I'm not finding it. But it's when you manipulative like that. Where you're doing something because you have an ulterior motive. That's not being genuine, not being honest. Verse 14, verse 15, verse 16. Thou art filled with the shame for glory. Drink thou also. Let your be uncovered. Right? So, what is he saying? Don't do that. Don't do that. You may as well shame yourself than trying to shame someone else. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on your glory. That thing that where you think you are getting some glory, you are not. You are dishonoring yourself. Right? For the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil of beasts which made them afraid, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land and of the city and of all that dwell therein. What profited the graven image? That the maker thereof had graven it. The molten image and a teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusted therein to make dumb idols. Woe unto him that said to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise. It shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver. There's no breath at all in the midst of it. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let the earth keep silence before him. Now you know everywhere it says the Lord, it's got his name. Right? So it's going to say, but Yahuah Yahusha is in his holy temple. He is alive. He lives, moves and breathes. What? There's no sanity. Like why even make an idol? When you are making it, you're going to bow down to the thing you've made. That's what God is saying. There's no breath in it. Chapter 3 verse 1, a prayer of Habakkuk the prophet unto Shigionoth. O Lord, I have heard thy speech. Remember the last statement we heard Habakkuk make was, I'm going to wait, I'm going to watch. Right? Now we hear him speak. The first thing he says, O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years make known. In wrath, remember, mercy. So he's saying, you do your thing. Just have mercy. He's pleading for mercy. He's coming from a position now where he's saying, God, your way is the way. I submit to you. I'm asking for mercy. It's a far cry from how he approached God in chapter 1. God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. Selah, his glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. And his brightness was as the light, and he had horns coming out of his hands, and there was the hiding of his power. And before him went pestilence, and burning coals went at his feet. He stood and measured the earth, beheld and drove asunder the nations. The everlasting mountains were scattered, the perpetual hills did bow. His ways are everlasting. I saw the tents of Cushan in affliction, and the curtains of the land of Midian did tremble. Was the Lord displeased against the rivers? Was thine anger against the rivers? Was thy wrath against the sea? Did thou ride upon thy horses and thy chariots of salvation? The bow was made quite naked according to the oaths of the tribes, and even thy word, Selah. Thou didst cleave the earth with rivers. The mountains saw thee and they trembled. The overflowing water passed by. The deep uttered his voice and lifted up his hands on high. The sun and the moon stood still in their habitation, and at the light of thine arrows they went. At the shining of thy glitter they spear. Thy glittering spear. Thou didst march through the land in indignation. Thou didst thresh the heathen in anger. Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, even for salvation with thine anointed. Thou woundest the head out of the house of the wicked, by discovering the foundation unto the neck. Selah. Okay. Thou didst strike through with the staves the heads of the villages. They came out as a whirlwind to scatter me. Their rejoicing was to devour the poor secretly. Thou didst walk through the sea with thine horses, through the heap of great waters. When I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice. rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself that I might rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh up to the people, he will invade them with his troops. Now we come to the end, right? It says, although what? Shall not, neither shall fruit be in the vines. Okay, so Habakkuk is now talking about a fig tree. When he's closing off, he's talking about a fig tree. He's saying, even if the fig tree will not blossom, and there's no fruit on the vines, the labor of the olive shall fail, and the field shall yield no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls. What? Underline that. What's he saying? You can't see it. You can't see the promise of fruitfulness. The fig, even the fig tree, because the fig is a hard tree, it doesn't need much in order to survive. It doesn't need tending constantly, right? The grapes now, you have to create the conditions for it to flourish. The fig can grow wild. But even if the fig tree is not fruitful, in that, what that means is that the conditions are so bad, you're probably going to be in a drought. You're probably going to be in famine because nothing is growing. Right? So even if the fig tree will not blossom, nor shall there be fruit in the vines, the labor of the olive is failing. So what he's saying, there's no figs, there's no grapes, there's no olives. The fields yield no meat, there's no cattle. Flock shall be cut off from the fold, there's no herd in the stalls. Still I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. The Lord God is my strength. He will make my feet like hinds' feet. He will make me walk upon high places. Listen, God is saying, you don't have to see the current situation as a prosperous place. You don't have to see the current situation as a place where you can flourish. What does that mean? Even if you think, where am I? What is happening? Nothing is happening. There's no good here. If you are down and depressed because it feels like you are drowning, listen. The Lord is my strength. I will rejoice and joy in the God of my salvation, because I know what? He will make me to walk upon my high places. Habakkuk got taught a lesson about pride. He got taught a lesson about how to submit to God. Why did I say it's the question about the fig tree? If we move to Matthew, chapter 21, I want you to go down to verse 18. What do we see here? Now, in the morning, as he returned into the city, he hungered. Underline that. Who is speaking? Who's hungering here? It's the Messiah. Now, what is this hunger? You see, he desired something. He had an expectation. Now he saw a fig tree in the way he came to it. He found nothing thereon but leaves only. And he said unto it, let no fruit grow on thee henceforward, ever. And presently the fig tree withered away. When the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, how soon is the fig tree withered away? But look at the answer from the Messiah. He said, Jesus answered and said unto them, verily I say unto you, if you have faith, what? And? Okay, so there's two parts to it, right? It's not just about faith. There's a second part. What is it about? Not doubting. Okay, not doubting. Can I ask a question then? Can I be candid? Okay. In your life, you get fired. Let's just say, you get fired. You say, I got faith, I go to church every week. Okay, fine. Are you depressed and scared and afraid for the future because you think God's not going to give you another job? Is that doubt or not? You're living your life. You've got all these bills to pay. Then the president makes an announcement, I don't know, something about an interest rate or whatever. Now you doubt. The littlest things happen in your life and you doubt. So Satan is very clever. He knows, okay, the faith thing, everybody's focused on the faith. So let's leave them with their faith. Can I tackle their doubt? Can I make them doubt? He did this from the beginning. Did God really say? And listen, you may think, whatever. If he approached the Messiah, when the Messiah was fasting for 40 days, 40 nights, to say to him, bow down and worship me and I'll give you this, that. If he wanted to make him doubt, what makes you think he's not going to approach you? And if you examine your life, I'm sure you're going to find situations of doubt. But here's what the Messiah said. If you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but you shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, be thou cast into the sea, and it shall be done. And all things whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believing, you shall receive. Now I want you to think about this. Because Habakkuk asked and it came. He asked and it came. He asked and it came. In fact, it came more strongly than he anticipated. But if you have faith and do not doubt, like Habakkuk did, God will move mountains for you. Can you see the correlation between Habakkuk and what is happening here? The question of the fig tree. But there's two keys, not one. Okay, I'm going to close with that. Try to focus on both keys. Don't put your hand on one key and the other key is in your pocket. Right? This is one of those nuclear launch deals. Two keys must be turned simultaneously. Have faith and don't